Hello and welcome back to the Demis Hellen channel. We're back with episode number 4 of the Arpeggio series, and we're going to kickstart this with a pattern and a chord structure as always, and then we're going to improvise a little melody on top of that. Patreon supporters, you get access to the MIDI, and I'm going to give the presets away for this particular episode, but if you already own the Vital Uplifting Trance collection on my website, you can check the link on screen now. That is where these leads are from. As you can see, that is what we're going to be creating there. Patrons can go and download that and just have the MIDI file, but I do actively encourage people that are wanting to learn this and actually do this to follow along. It's going to stick in your brain a lot easier by doing. So we've got a chord structure here and we've got our pattern here. So we're going to start with the chords. Let's jump in. We're in C minor today. Just sounding much better with that chord structure in my opinion, but if you wanted to work in A minor, you can just drop that down to A minor as long as that first root note there, because that's how I've designed it, starts on A, that'll be in A minor. The reason we've got different colours, just for those at home that haven't seen these videos before, I've got a Scales Assistant set up, and if I change that to A minor now, you can see now it shows that all the notes are in the right key. If we move one out of key, it's going to show up as orange and show that's not in the scale, and it just makes it visually easier for you to see whilst I'm making these changes. I'm going to switch that back to C minor and transpose that back up. And you can see here we've got a bunch of standard triads, so really all we've got is this chord structure here, and then it's exactly the same apart from this last chord which goes up to an F minor there, you can see. And just for those at home that don't know the difference between a major and a minor chord when you're looking at these chords on screen, ones with a 2-note gap are minor, that's the rule of thumb, and the ones with 3-note gaps are major. So you can see we start off on a minor, then we have 3 majors, back to the minor, and then we have 2 majors, and then we end on a minor. So that gives us the difference for that second portion of the melody. So essentially an 8-bar arpeggio. Now that we have that out of the way, we can jump into the pattern. So this is the pattern over 1 bar, and you can see it's a very simplistic pattern as always. I'm going to show you the reason why I've chosen this one. So we're going to rebuild this one, just make sure we've got a copy of it, just in case I do forget the pattern. Delete all these and just start with this first note. So we've got 16th notes activated, so that is 16 notes in a bar. And what we're going to do is utilize every single 16th, but we're going to build our top part of the arpeggio and then the sort of like what I call the bass portion. So we're going to skip 2 notes, so 2 16ths, another 2, and then usually you'd carry that pattern on like so and just sort of like bring it round there by having 1 on each side. But we need this to have a little bit more energy in there, and I've opted for this pattern. So all we do is shift over this one and just move that one back, and we've got this pattern. So essentially all we're doing is the same pattern over the bar, but we're repeating it twice. So we've got the restart on the half beat there. You can see that's a little bit more laboured. That works fine for a lot of melodies, but for this one, it's a little bit more syncopated and energetic. And then just for the sake of the tutorial, I'm going to show you where I'm going to fill in the gaps. This is just usual stuff. This is clearly out of key, so don't use this. So now when I transpose that up, you can see that we've filled the whole grid there of 16ths. I'm going to drop that down 1 octave, just holding shift on my key commands. And you can see now we've got this. And for the sake of the rest of the notes here for the other leads, there's 3 leads in total in this one, we're going to drop these to 30-second notes. But I'm just using a free mode here, so I've just turned off my grid snapping and made them shorter, so it's more syncopated, and these notes then appear to make the melody sound a little bit faster. So you won't hear it in that one. We've just shift these chords over. Let's try on this one. You can hear that they work a lot better with that particular one, so that's why I'm doing this. Okay, so let's jump in and duplicate this pattern. So we're going to make a 4-bar loop to start with. Like that. So we've just got this same pattern repeating, and we're just going to improvise this one for this video. I'm going to actually turn to the keyboard and work in the scale, and let's see what we come up with on here. Let's just get back on the right sound. Okay, I like the first portion of this. Let's just get that up there. I think I went to G. Let's just get rid of those chords for now. So, I initially played this, something like that on that second time round. But I'm hearing it sort of drop at this point. So this is like just really down to creative choice, but this is what I'm going for. So I'm using that sort of repetition. Do you know where we made the top pattern and then we started it again on that half beat of the bar? I'm utilizing that secondary note, that last one in the sequence, to sort of like bring it down. And then maybe that goes down, maybe it goes back up. No. And then possibly something like that. I'm just going with my intuition here. It definitely goes up. I think it's definitely going to go upwards, so all I've done is transpose that up higher. Maybe we do this again here, so like where I've done, utilised that sort of last note before it starts back onto the next bar. Maybe drop that there. I think I went down to the B flat. I don't think it's going to be one of these two. I don't think it's going to be the A flat. And then I think we need to break the mold. So on this one, we used it here, but then on the second bar, so the end of here, we didn't make any moves like this using that one note. But this one, I think we should break it for the 4 bars and maybe have it here, just so it ties back round to C. Don't think we can go there, that's not going to sound right. It works, but it's a bit too vanilla. I can't go to C because that'd sound strange. Let's try one lower. There we are, that's the tie-in, so we're going that one lower and coming back up to C, so we're kind of over-slinging and back. That sounds much better. So, with the chord structure in mind, we have C, A flat, E flat, A, B flat. So let's just put them in, let's see if this works. Did I say here? Yep, and then we had the E flat and the B flat. And And see, that's how easy we can do this. Like, obviously you do this quite a lot. You'll sort of hear where it needs to go. Your intuition will guide you based on that chord structure, and that works really nice. But we have to create a second half of this, because that sounds really nice on the sort of like the first round. But we can't just keep hearing that. So I'm just going to drag that there. So we've got now 8 bars of this. But as you can see from our earlier chord structure, we jump up to an F minor on this. So we need to put it to there. And make some adjustments to this part. So now that we've got that in place, with this second half, we need to change this up so the bass goes upwards. For that chord structure, going down is just a little bit too low for that F, so it has to go up. So it gives you an uplift at the end, back round to C, which is great. But this works. But it's exactly the same as the first part, so you need to generate a little bit more uplift with that. And I think if we take all these notes and reset them, let's put them all together like this. I think we can utilize this here, but then we have to go upwards from this point. Just like we do here, we go down, but then we go back up. There, so we go to F and then to G. I think we should do the same here, or the same idea, and go back up to that E flat. Let's double the bass. I'm thinking something like this, possibly. And there we are. I don't think it's going to work there. That's a little bit. And I think C is going to be too far, ending on the original root note. That works. I don't know if I prefer the B flat. I prefer the B flat. Maybe you could add the nuances in there. Again, it's a creative decision for you. But you can see now we've got very quickly a completed melody there. I'm happy with that. That's probably one of the better videos that I've done in this series, to be honest. Let me know in the comments if you do agree with that. But that was very quick to get to the point. Let's drop the other leads in here. So the 3 leads, by the way, if you want to get hold of them, again, they're available on the Patreon link for this video, but they are from my Uplifting Trance collection. So we've got Uplifting Lead 9 on this one. We've got Uplifting Pluck 20 on that one. And finally, Uplifting Pluck 20 again, but it must be a slight variation. I've done something different to it there. So we've got 2 of the same pluck, but with a slight variation, and that uplifting lead. Sounds so good with those sounds. So let's just close the mod wheel, and I'll open it collectively here. That works so well. That is track worthy right there. And then we could build the bass in with this. It's not really finished as such, but I suppose we can glue these bass parts and just get an idea with some percussion and some bass. So we remember in this section, A flat, and I think it was E flat, B flat, and then the second one went up to that F. And then the same for the sub. Trying to do this as quick as possible. Let's copy this percussion over here. It's got lots of edits in here. All very messy. Let's get rid of the kick and clap on that one and just have the hats. That is an absolutely fantastic melody. Honestly, that's probably one of the best I've made. It just has it just works, and this is the beauty of music. Sometimes you could be brick wall in your melodies, and with that is probably one of the best for this series I've ever done out of all the series that I've done of this arpeggio stuff. So with that, that's the end of the video. If you did enjoy it, let me know down below. This is available on Patreon. Again, you can copy it off screen. You've seen the MIDI melody on there. And if you want to know more, there is more in the Arpeggio series. And I've also got 3 other previous series as well. So thank you very much for watching. I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Take care.